We begin with a tribute to a Canadian acting legend. Christopher Plummer has died at the age of 91. In our top story tonight, Mike Drolet looks back at the extraordinary career of a world-renowned actor who never forgot his roots.
It's hard to remember a time when Christopher Plummer wasn't famous. At 24, he was a Broadway star, even if the play he was in opened and closed on the same night.
To work mine ends upon their senses.
It was but the beginning of a long love affair with the stage, where his name would become synonymous with Ontario's Stratford Festival. Of course, when Hollywood beckoned, he answered the call.
Kill me, and they're yours.
And after a few eye-catching roles, he agreed to do a family film that he publicly derided for the rest of his life.
Why do you stare at me that way?
The Sound of Music won Oscars, but Plummer called it sentimental and gooey, and would only refer to it as that movie. Perhaps what irked him was the fact they dubbed over his singing voice.
I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, right, I'm so sorry.
And you know that.
He did love working opposite Julie Andrews. It was the character Captain Von Trapp that left him wanting. He demanded more substance to the role and worried he'd be remembered for mediocrity.
Fräulein, were you this much trouble at the Abbey?
Oh, much more, sir.
As the great-grandson of former Prime Minister John Abbott, Plummer was born into privilege. He was raised in a Montreal suburb where he honed his skills as a concert pianist. Such talent, and while he never lacked for work, he struggled to find great roles as he got older. Then in the late 90s, he experienced a renaissance of sorts. He won a Tony Award on Broadway. He got rave reviews for The Insider. And in the film Beginners, he played a man who came out as openly gay in his 70s, for which he would become the oldest person to ever win an Oscar at the age of 82.
You're only 2 years older than me, darling. Where have you been all my life?
He'd receive another nomination 7 years later and stayed busy until his death.
He never lost this allure. He never lost this sense of being something very rare and precious. So everyone wanted to work with Christopher Plummer. There was no one like him.
His last project was the second season of Departure, which will air later this year.
What are you trying to say?
However brusque at times, he had a charm to him. And Stephen Russell, who acted with him in New York and Stratford, says Plummer was one of the most generous people he ever met.
You never ever forgot that Chris Plummer was a human being first and a star later.
And even though he despised being associated with one of the biggest hits ever produced,
Christopher Plummer is the greatest actor this country has ever produced.
Plummer's place in the history of Canadian stage and screen is set. Mike Drolet, Global News, Toronto.
There are too many tributes to list them all, but here's one more from one of Plummer's most notable co-stars, Julie Andrews. The world has lost a consummate actor today, and I have lost a cherished friend. I treasure the memories of our work together and all the humor and fun we shared through the years.